Right, ladies and gentlemen, celebrating 20 years of tractors and 50 years of the Jaguar Forage Harvester, we now find ourselves on the Claas stand. And like many stands at this event at AGRITECHNICA 2023, Claas's stand is just absolutely massive. It is absolutely packed to the rafters with machinery and technology. So we're going to dive straight in and we're going to talk tractors to kick off with. And I'm now joined by Mr. Michael Ives from Claas UK. And we are going to kick off with, well, what can I say, with this beast, the brand new Xerion. So, Michael, I mean, just hit me with it. I mean, for a start off, how many models have you got in this range now?
There's two models in the Xerion 12 range, a 590 and a 650. So what you see sat here is a 650. She's 653 horse, Mercedes engine, 15.6 litre. So you can already see the similarities between the existing Xerion 5000, but we've just gone bigger. So still rigid chassis, Mercedes engine, ZF transmission, CVT. So it's the first time anyone in the market has gone above 600 horsepower with a CVT transmission. But the big thing that stands out on the side, it's a Claas-made TerraTrack system for the first time.
So, I mean, let's talk us through sort of the model numbering, because like you called it the Xerion 12. Is this a 12 series now?
Yeah. So it's kind of a, should we say, an introduction to the way things are going to be named from going forward. So this is the starter. This is the first one. So Xerion 12 is the range. So there will be other models. So there will be the 12 is the top. 12, don't say the dot. 12 650 is the model range and the horsepower. So going forward, it's a bit of a sneak peek for what's going to be named going forward. Yeah.
So in the future, we may see, I don't know, 11 series, 10 series, 9 series, whatever.
Yeah. So
followed by the number which relates to the horsepower. Yeah. And likewise with the new naming and the model numbers, got some new styling. Yes. We're going to expect this filtering down
again,
as well.
Yeah, again, so this is the first one. So the little Axos, Nexos tractors were the first ones to get the new Y designs, we call it. But yes, it gives you a lot more angry stance, a bit more presence. And,
it's like I've got a furrowed brow there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
So I'm coming to get you.
It means business, doesn't it? Yeah, and new daytime running lights and integrated LEDs, that sort of thing. So it's real nice design. Yeah, it's got some presence out in the field.
I'm going to say, and like I said before, you've got a ZF transmission in this. CVT, right? So presumably you've had to work with ZF, and with the CVT they'll have had to build you a big one for this.
In actual fact, it's actually very, very similar to what's existing in the Xerion 5000 already.
All right, okay.
Slight different tweaks. So you've got the engine with a dropper box, which would be what we call a PTG, pump to gearbox, essentially. Going into essentially what is a, I wouldn't say it's identical, but it's similar to what's in the Xerion 5000. So we don't have a different gearbox in the bigger tractors like some of the competition do. So parts commonality, service commonality. So the plan is we'll start seeing these into the spring next year. The dealers, if this turns up, if they've got experience with Xerion 5000, 4500 and so on, they know.
They're pretty much good to go.
They know what they're dealing with, just bigger versions of.
Right.
Yeah.
And are there a lot of, components on this that are already shared with, your previous 5000 series?
Similar. Yeah, similar. So hydraulic pumps, that sort of thing. Again, very similar. But yes, the axle's obviously bigger. The engine's bigger. The transmission, like I said, is similar. But yeah, the gearing is done. It's essentially geared up. So rather than high speed, low torque principle.
That's it, yeah.
So engine comes in, it's essentially sped up going into the gearbox, it then drops in the gearbox before going out to the axle. So it's to basically, so we know the torque can go to the right place at the right time rather than having high torque going in right from the word go. So yeah.
And what would be your, the rated speed of this engine for your maximum power?
I think it's about 1650 revs.
Right, so it's fairly low.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's building on the previous Xerion, or the existing Xerion, so we call it, not previous Xerion. Low speed concept, so Mercedes engine, very low, deep lugging engine. We know it from the Lex, we know it from the Jaguar. Low engine speed, CVT transmission, like I said, for the first time. It's been a bit of a game changer. Okay, it's early doors, but what we've seen so far, it's been a bit of a game changer. You don't have to give it full beans to get the full peak out of the engine. It just purrs along as you need it. So, yeah.
Good stuff. And then obviously this is a rigid frame
Yes.
tractor
Yeah.
compared to a lot of the competition
Yeah.
in this horsepower bracket. So what's the advantages?
So we did some studies back in around 2018, 2019, and basically customers of this segment, all they know is articulated steering. And we said to the customers, like, you've got the existing Xerion 4.2, 4.5 and 5000s, do you see any negatives? And they said, well, to be honest, no, because you can ballast it up accordingly so you can get your 50-50 weight distribution, but there is no real difference between an articulated steering and a rigid chassis. So the big difference we have is the competition have the diesel tank in the back, and during the day your weight distribution changes. Our diesel tank's in the middle. So you've got your big diesel tank down the bottom with the additional tank at the top, but they're in the middle. So your weight balance barely changes throughout the day. So when you turn, so going back to steering, rather than turning and you shift the drawbar position, when you turn, it behaves just like a standard Xerion. The axles turn, so your drawbar position doesn't shift. So.
And are there various steering modes with that? Can you play around with that? Or is it always four-wheel steer?
Always four-wheel.
Always four-wheel steer?
Yeah, always four-wheel steer, so yeah. One thing we don't have, just talking steering, we don't have the Vario cab, the VT cab. So she's a fixed cab model now. So the reverse drive function, so when you have your crab steering, that sort of thing, that is, should we call it the 784 Xerions, we call it the 5000 range, we call it. So this is just a out and out field lugger. Right.
So with that then, are you going to do some rotating cab versions of this new 12 Series?
No.
This is it.
What you see
is
what
your
you
lugger.
get. Just two models, two different track versions, but we will only take the narrower tracks because of the 3 meter road width. But yeah, what you see is what you get is fixed cab, four wheel steer, four track steer, if you want to call it that. Yeah.
And your 5000 models that you've currently got, are they going to be phased out?
No. So they're here to stay.
Keep them?
They're here to stay. So we're going to have the two models of Xerion.
You're going to rename them? 11 Series?
They will probably become the 10 at some point.
10 Series,
so
right.
The 11 is going to be the wheeled machine for the North American market.
Ah, right.
So
we're getting somewhere.
Yes.
We're getting somewhere now.
So for Europe, we will see the 12.
Yeah.
For the UK, we will only see the 12.
Right.
Yeah, and the grand plan, bit of a sneak peek, should we say the 5000 range will become a 10 dot. Well, I said dot, don't say dot.
Yeah, don't say dot.
Don't say dot.
Don't say dot. Right. So UK models then, tracks only.
Yeah, only tracks.
Right.
30-inch track, so 735 I think it is in metric.
Yeah.
Yeah. The big thing that's different is the pump, hydraulic pump. So standard is 220 litres, which is what we take anyway on the should we say, the smaller Xerion. But the big thing, because this is aimed at the American market, the Australian market, the Eastern European market, you can put 3 pumps in this, up to 500, I think it's 537 litres.
Really?
Yes.
They want all that?
The big air seeders. Obviously, we don't really see them too much in the